And it's officially good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, hospitality.
Here we are, another day, another beautiful podcast or live stream, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're listening to or whatever you're viewing. How are we doing this morning, gentlemen? How was your guys' weekends?
I'm kind of jealous. Everybody I know got snow except for us. So like 45 degrees here.
No snow. Hey, I'll trade you. I'll trade you. I love it.
No, and here's a lot of snow as well. But I heard something happened, Will, regarding snow. I heard some rumors.
Oh, rumors? Yeah. No, just a lovely little hike, 2-mile hike home. It was great. Yeah, we had a nice little staycation in Seattle, and then I thought, it was just too relaxing of a weekend that we just had to make it interesting and hike our way home to get warm again.
Uphill both ways.
Uphill both ways, baby. Gotta get those calf workouts.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, what's up with you guys? Anything going on? What's cracking?
I think last week was one of the most busy weeks ever. It was an insane week. I think it was from the morning to late evenings, but so it was pretty chill in the weekend, just the recovery for things which are coming this week again. Yeah. So, but you can see what I really see, like the first month, January was a bit like people restarting. You can see there is not conference. Now you can see it a bit starting, right? We're organizing our new IMIT hotel next week. There's we organize some clubhouse sessions. So more and more things are coming now and starting again as well in visibility. And I think everybody restarted and make his plans, his goals for the coming year. So yeah, you can see we even saw some growth in bookings last weekend. You saw it was so you can see that also. I was surprised. I just asked this morning. Well, and here's of course afternoon already to see what was happening last days, and we see some increase now. So you see that the people are now more and more start booking. So positive.
Is that future bookings, Michael, or is that like who actually stayed last weekend?
Yeah. No, it's future bookings. So they actually made the reservation now, and most of the people leaving in 3 or 4 months from now. So they're still booking pretty in advance, of course, and then flexible. But people are just starting to believe that they could travel again anytime soon. So yeah, it's coming. So you can see it's took a while. We saw a bit the searches were starting. People more the behavior. We saw more people logging in, start searching, and now you see them start booking already. So it's a good sign.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think bookings ties in great for our conversation today. We're talking about bookings direct and versus indirect. So I think I would love to start off with what's with the noise, and then we can get into the Bidruption report. Down?
Let's do it.
Yeah? All right, let's do it.
Good morning, everybody. This week with What's with the Noise, we like to cover topics that pop up in the week prior. And one of the things that popped up is now the re-rise of the condo hotel. And say re-rise because about 10, 15 years ago, condo hotels were the thing, especially in areas like Miami. And you could buy in some of these really beautiful developments, drop off your keys at the front desk and have your own unit that you can go back to. I don't necessarily think the rise of the condo hotels is the thing. I think apart hotels, if we're splitting hairs, is the big winner in the coming years, where apartment residents can go and drop their keys off at the front desk when they have to travel for work or when they want to go, quarantine somewhere else for a month. And that way they can help subsidize rent, and it kind of supports the digital nomad movement, but also there's a home base. And that's always been my question mark with digital nomads is, what do you do with clothes that don't fit in the suitcase, or your heirlooms, or your, whatever you live with? But that's where the apart hotel really comes in handy, and I think is the future. We've already started to see it in some capacities the Saunders of the world, Menthouse, etc. But I think that's the next big wave is apart hotels, not to be splitting hairs too much with condo hotels.
Welcome to the Bid Eruption report of this week. Well, just to go back to the story of Golden, I never heard about condo hotels or condotels, as he said. So actually funny when you see those words are changing, right? Poshtels, botels, many of them. So I will have a look at condo hotels to see if it will be something for my next day. Then I have to decide I'm going to book them directly or indirectly. That's why also having this topic I addressed and mentioned, will mention one startup, which is actually the Hotels Network, which build a platform, which build a solution for hotels to grow their direct booking. So what they actually do, they just offering different solutions, different tools, personalizations, vouchers, loyalty, etc. More and more, what you can actually use as a hotel to increase your direct reservations. There are more out there, so is it unique? No, but I think the total offering, what they do is multiple solutions, I think is pretty strong. Of course, you have competitors like HotelChamp, Triptease, and more of them. You might see more solutions popping up. You see the trend, of course, that direct bookings might go up as well. Of course, you see it as well. I saw some rumors as well in the whole Airbnb market or vacation rental market, as I should say. There will be the increase of direct reservations. So let's see how it will work. As some of you know, Bidroom is actually something in between direct and indirect reservations. So actually, our users or members booking directly to the hotels, pay directly to the hotels, even though it's by using our technology. I'm curious what's going to happen in this space, so I'm more than happy to speak about it in a second. Also, I always mention some events which are popping up or where we're attending. This week on Thursday, I have to do a masterclass for students in Netherlands, over 1,300 students. So a pretty large group. Of course, it will be remotely, but it looks pretty cool how they're setting it up. So really virtual stage show. Thursday, I will doing that. And then next week, we'll have our iMeet Hotel event again. So people wants to join the iMeet Hotel, go to imeethotel.com. And I think this week, we have it also. No, the 22nd, we have our first Clubhouse. So it is also really an app I'm start exploring now. I know that our co-host, Will, is really active on it. So please follow him as well. You can follow me, but there's not much to follow so far. But of course, you can more than happy to join our Clubhouse session of us next week. And that's the Bid Eruption report of this week. And let's go back to the other two guys.
Yeah, Clubhouse. We're going to be joining the club here pretty soon.
And one more thing to mention, it's the last week to submit for the Shorties Award. So if you would like to get yourself or your company recognized, have someone nominate you for the Shorties Award.
Will be good, because otherwise we'll maybe win all the 10 or 12 awards. So we have just nominate somebody or yourself, because otherwise it will be like full with trophies and everything. And
you'll get nominated.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't think I want 12 trophies, but we're good. But Good Morning Hospitality. This is a award-winning podcast and live stream. So, maybe one or two will come this way.
We deserve it.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so we're talking about direct bookings and indirect bookings. And Ross, you mentioned this with Bidruption, or not Bidruption, but with Bidroom in general, that you guys are booking direct, but they're just using your tech. So let's talk about, I guess, the multiple ways of direct bookings, or maybe even indirect, what that kind of like set that tone for the audience. And then we can obviously jump into certain topics. Obviously, I know there's one on Skift that we've all been reading. So it'd be interesting to get you guys' thoughts.
Well, I think it's more like the visibility. And I think there's always a challenge, right, about direct and indirect. And I think what meta search or OTAs are doing is, of course, making your hotel visible. And I think that's a difficulty, of course, is like how do you become visible? And I think that's still what is happening. And of course, you can search somewhere else at the end, of course, hoping that hotels, of course, they hope that you book directly to them. I think it's the difficulty that some hotels which are not visible anywhere, and they need them, of course. They need OTAs, need the visibility. I think more and more that the stronger brands you see, of course, especially when I speak to the large chains, they're super happy to work with us, even though it's still a direct reservation, it's a closed user platform. But you also see, okay, how can they just work less or just avoid high commissions? Because of course, there's also the discussion, like the reason to have more directly is, of course, to avoid those high commissions. And let's see, we built something in between, right? So you're still using kind of a search engine. You can search for every destination, but still you book directly to the hotel. And I'm really curious what's going to happen after the pandemic, if there will be a change. You see discussions, of course, in the vacation rental. Of course, it's pretty difficult to find a website often for a vacation rental place, right? I think 9 out of 10 might not even have a website. I think in hotels often has much more information about their property, right? If you're just looking at a hotel, if you go to the hotel website, what many people does, you still feel much more information, more photos, more pictures, more videos, etc. So I think when the visitor, like the potential guest, is landing on your website and you're doing a good job as a hotel by offering your own loyalty or special rates, members, something extra, upgrades, I think there you can win them. I think in the vacation rental it's difficult, right? Because the extra perks is quite limited. The visibility is nearly impossible. So let's see. But I think hotels, if they're doing well, you see there's much more tools outside there which could help them to convert them as soon as you're there, right? At least when you can, as an hotelier here, you can get them on your own website. I think then a hotel should do everything to make sure that they're staying there and booking in there. And that's something which still hotels not always do well, in my opinion. Is okay, we just try to target them, they're ending up my website, and then they're just still moving out and they're just leaving the website and then still book an OTA. So I don't know how you think about it, guys.
Yeah, so the direct indirect is quite different in vacation rentals as it is hotels. Like, as you guys know, my father was a lifetime Marriott guy, so he would book direct, and there's no questions about it. In short-term rentals, it's a little bit different, and the question as a short-term rental operator that you have to ask yourself is, how well do I know my traveler? Because if that traveler comes and stays once, then you just have to continue to use the OTAs to find that traveler. But if you're in a destination market where you have repeat business year after year, my family goes to the same small little island in South Carolina called Fripp Island every year. And we book the house that we stay at for the following year while we're there the previous year. And if we really like that house, then we go ahead and book that house again for the same time, the same thing next year. If you're doing a good job, you have a great home, you have great properties, and you know your traveler, you know their booking patterns, that when you've got 3 different families coming from 3 different states, that you need to hit them while they're thinking about it and get that booking direct, save yourself the 15 whatever percent. If you are in an urban market and you've got business travel coming in regularly, you can think about working with certain companies to set up a corporate travel program with your short-term rentals. You're going to have standards, I would imagine, to check the boxes. But the more cities you're in, the more capabilities you have to offer more hotel-like perks. But I think it circles back to the OTA should bring you that customer for the first time, and you should keep that customer every time they book in your market after that. And if not, then it is a failure on your part.
Yeah, definitely, like something that we've practiced, and also like whenever we're talking with other people getting into the space, or maybe that are just trying to improve their business and operations, we always talk about branding and the importance of branding, but not just that, but like what it looks like to have like a good website where people can find you direct, and maybe just being a little bit more active on social media, creating a repeat guest discount, creating some kind of incentive for people to not just keep going back to Airbnb or VRBO, whatever. Because like you said, Golden, which I love that you said it, is that, it's okay to let them come in the first time, but the second time, if they're coming in from the OTA, then definitely it's kind of a failure on your part. because you should be trying to capture that guest information and the experience itself. Like I'm always going to be the geek that comes back down to the experience and moments and all the like hotel hospitality, vacation rental stuff, but is really like you should be making memories or being able to make it easy for them to make memories to consider coming back with you every single time. So,
and it's also important that you have the ability to book direct. A lot of people only market on a single channel, and if you're not on multiple channels and have the ability to even book direct, then you're coming up short. And there's great companies like Future Stay out there that if you drop a link from any of the OTAs, you're listing into their software, then it'll build your listings on other platforms and also help you build your own website to get direct bookings. So there is no excuse anymore as a single owner all the way up to the largest companies to be monetizing on just a single channel.
Well, with the hotels, there's a difficulty because a lot of hotels, but I can't compete on Google. That's often directly the response, like, okay, why are you using the OTAs, etc. And I think still visibility is important, right? And as you know, that many people start searching their journey maybe on an OTA or on a meta search. Often, I think really often, and maybe it's 30 or 40%, sometimes even more, that the user of this potential guest is still looking for more information. And where he finds this information on your website. So make sure your website is still available and visible, even though you don't have to buy them by Google, right? Just make sure that they can use, for example, the OTAs or the meta search by finding you. But make sure, indeed, what Michael said, there's tools out there, but make sure if they're coming to your website, that they're converting, you have the right information, that is actually the information people are looking for. And then there you can also create a relationship. I know that they change, for example, using most of the OTAs. Just make sure it's a new customer. And as soon the customer stayed in our property, we have to do everything to make sure you become loyal to us. And they're just making the calculation of the 15-20% commission. It's okay, this is our acquisition of a potential new loyal member. But again, you see that many hotels doesn't do well. You're just checking out, you never heard them again, right? And of course, there's a difference when you have a 3-star hotel, the city center of a place, of a touristic place. You might not come back there, but you might.
Yeah.
People still don't know. Maybe you want to come back, right? Or maybe you're going to talk to your friends and families. I can book next time to this hotel. A lot of hotels are already giving up, actually, so I can know, but small chance you'll book to me directly because you'll not find me. So I think still people staying in your place, if they can recommend you and even say, okay, please support us and share with your friends and family to book directly or on Bidroom because we don't take commission. So eventually it's the same. So if I could recommend, I would still, of course, recommend Bidroom. But still, in this case, you're helping the OTA. And I think it's especially now when we're coming to recovery, if you can help the hotels by saving on their commission, by using us or booking other, or even directly, doesn't matter. As soon as you can help the hotels by saving them 15-20%, I think it's great. So I think it's also like if the hotels could earn a bit more, at the end you will see as well that it has also an impact on the pricing, what you see as well, because many hotels, if I didn't have to pay 15-20%, I could give lower prices to my guest. So we talk about, of course, internally quite often about direct and indirect, and we kind of have in between. So I'm curious, like if hotels, and you see we talked about in the previous episode that more and more hotels using technologies and using tools actually now as well. So I think the tools are getting better as well, which you can do the comparison with the OTAs on your website. I mentioned, for example, like a Hotel Champ or Triptease. So you see more solutions out there as well, which help you to convert them on your platform. But I think what is noted, you should do, make sure that you have great pictures, you have great text and content in there, and that people are actually able to book, right? And some of them you still see a web form. Yes, of course, when you see a web form, you're just leaving and you go to go to an OTA because you want to have it confirmed.
Well, the thing is that a lot of guests are seeing OTAs, whether it's Airbnb, Expedia, Booking.com, etc. They're seeing that as booking at the hotel directly. They don't see it as a marketplace, so where they shop, narrow down their options, and then pick down. Like instead of having it being able to book on the OTA, it should usually, like in my thought, like from a hotelier standpoint specifically, but like it should be okay, like you use it as a shopping engine, you get to your place of desire, you click book, and it takes you to their website, so then you can book. It shouldn't be like a let them kind of take over type deal, but that's not how the industry has gone. The industry has definitely gone a different way. But I'm going to throw this question out there from Philip. How do you define direct, and do you think the definition of direct booking is evolving? Should it evolve as tech does? And so I think that's a good question for both of you guys, because you're both in the tech space, especially in travel, whether it's Bidroom or Noiseware. And so figuring out, do you think direct booking, the definition, should evolve as tech does, or is that something that will never change?
I think it's a good question. I think Booking becomes strong because they are building something which was not as strong out there. The same with Airbnb, they was on the right moment, the right timing. And there was not really good aggregators for platforms where you can search easy, compare easy. At the end, of course, you can book there easy. And I think a lot of people still like Booking, for example, Booking.com, because they know how it works. It's a simplicity, and doesn't matter if you book a hotel in Africa, or book a hotel in Europe, or book it in the US. It's the same way of working. And that's still what you see. If you book into a hotel directly, every process of making reservations is different questions, different processes, different payment methods, etc. So I think the friction part, I think it's really important. I think the technology is out there, right? You can make sure as an OTA you have the right technology on your website to make sure he converts. But I think it's also the friction part. Often what people drive them still to the OTAs, because you just have your credentials there, you have your name there, you just log in, click twice, and you're booked, right? And you know as well when you want to cancel that it will probably be okay because you did it before, maybe. And still, if you might book directly, you don't know in that case, because Booking is a massive company. They have a customer support in 40 languages or whatever. That's how they promote herself. You know how I think about Booking, so I'll not make it. I'll keep it nice. But in this case, you see that the hotels, of course, they have not the 40 languages support. They not have always responding in 5 minutes, or I don't say the other one does, but it's of course. So it's still, I think the friction part is driving. I think when the technology is improving with, for example, more languages, more chats, with more Autobots which can respond more of your questions, I think technology will facilitate, as of course, that there will be increase of direct reservations.
So Michael had a few good points that I want to rephrase and reiterate, but Booking, Airbnb, Expedia, they're doing thousands of A/B tests, working on conversions every single day. And no hotel, no vacation rental company has the bandwidth to optimize their conversion rates when a traveler hits their site. And I'd be very curious to see what a direct Booking conversion rate is versus a Booking.com conversion rate. So that's one big thing. And then another is trust. And to Michael's point on, if I'm traveling to a place abroad that I've never been to, I'm going to trust one of the OTAs a heck of a lot more than Booking direct. Now, again, that's where the OTAs come in play for that first booking. But once you've stayed with XYZ company in this location, then you're comfortable with booking direct with them the next time, right? But especially with traveling internationally, different currencies, different languages, different support hours, it's more comforting as a traveler to book direct. And to answer Phil's question, future stay, I just shouted them out, and Phil comes in with a question. Good timing, Phil. How does the definition change? It's a good question. Would you define meta search that makes a booking direct on your website direct or indirect? I think there's nuances there, but you're still paying a little bit of a commission, even though if it's a much smaller commission. And we're seeing platforms, and this comes up to the Skift article, like Expedia or VRBO and Airbnb, and Booking paused it for a while too, but pulling their properties off of Google, which is essentially a meta search, from what I gather at least. So they're spending less on paid search and more on marketing. And if you've been in America, at least, it's probably not the same in Europe, Michael, but I get VRBO commercial on TV, and I get VRBO YouTube ads before I watch a YouTube video. Like VRBO is marketing heavily. They're just not marketing on paid Google search. And it's splitting hairs, but YouTube is owned by Google. So technically they're still spending money on parent Alphabet company. But it is interesting to see, like 3 years ago, the number one source of revenue for Google was Booking.com, Expedia, and Airbnb. And now you see all three of them pulling their spend. So super interesting.
But this is going to happen as well on meta search, right? You will see that the meta search will have less and less income from the OTAs, because the OTAs, they want to spend less, because I know they'll come at the end, might end up anyway at their own website. So you'll see that the business models from meta search might change as well. You can see in that case that, but still, you said okay, the difference between spending your money on Google Ads, for example, Google pricing, or Google, for example, on YouTube, which is actually the same. At the end, you just need traffic to your platform, right? So at the end, yeah, you're still spending it indeed with just the same company. The other end, more from the customer, because his data, and it might be high conversion. So maybe the other one is more branding focused, right? So at the end, maybe will be more for what you said, more on YouTube, on TV, and branding wise. So people just know next time I have to go to VRBO and not searching on Google again. Yeah, I'm curious what again, this is vacation when I'm still the hotels. You see that the initiative started from the chains, right? In the past, I think it was Roomkey. They start some initiative to book directly on a one global platform, which kind of like an OTA kind of looking like, didn't really kick off so far, maybe because of the lack of inventory or perks. I don't know why it didn't really took off. Maybe the timing was also not good. Could be because it's already some years ago. And I think still, what we said is what we discussed before. I think the timing and is important, but I think it's also Booking did well because they start on the right moment and people didn't know how to search. I think there will be new initiatives, right? Of course, I just keep promoting ourselves, but it's also, you will see more initiative coming out by comparison, searching, etc. And still, it's good to use the OTAs. At the end, yes, you might use it for your first booking, but if you want to come back, and that's what I recommend most people, if you want to come back to the same property, just support this hotel, right? Just the place is okay. You just know you stayed there before. So yeah, if you might even use them for the first time when you feel comfortable, then use them at least for the second time.
But you have to make it easy, right? Like there's places. There's been times where I've stayed in Lake Como, and I really wanted to stay at this property I stayed at, but it was 2 years prior. I couldn't remember what it was called. I only generally remembered like the vicinity. I couldn't find it. Like, make yourself visible, make it easy for people to repeat, and we'll get them, right? Like, so.
But that's the same when you check out. When there's a checkout moment, your guest is leaving, just ask him if you had a great stay and just give him the card of the hotels. Okay, use this one next time. I give you 5% discount or upgrade or whatever you want to do. This is so small thing you have to do just to make him sure he books next time to you directly, or ask him the question: do you plan to come back? Right? How was your stay? Or do you use this moment? We work in hospitality. Come on, use this moment as well to promote yourself.
Yeah, and that's what it's like. All the OTAs do really well is they capture data, and that's what like they have all this like. That's why Airbnb. I'm not going to be surprised if they come up with a loyalty program for everyone who books on Airbnb, because they're going to try to use and keep this data for themselves. And that's what Booking has Genius Booker, and Expedia has this, and so like they're using their data to try to keep people, and that's why they're going to start pulling from Google and a few other platforms, because why would they keep paying for all this spend when they already have millions and millions of travelers' data on their own platform? Now they just need to remarket appropriately and capture that data to a stronger standpoint. And then that's what the hotelier or vacation rental company needs to do too. Like, capture data, figure out how to be able to remarket to guests once they book with you, whether it's indirect or direct.
I'll not be surprised, as you just mentioned, in loyalty. And of course, with Bidroom, by having a membership, you become kind of loyal to Bidroom, right? I'm still curious when, and I just know it's going to happen, right? Airbnb, if they're just clever, they're just charging and to their travelers, to the guests, they should go into like, how can we make them sure they're coming back to us by having a Bidroom business model, which is a subscription service, which makes a lot of sense, right? For us, we just know if somebody subscribed to our platform, we have a relationship with him. You can create some interaction. We don't have to keep investing in marketing to let the user come back, because we have a relationship with him. We can see what they're searching. We can see if things are changing, etc. And I think it will be a matter of time when also on Airbnb go into subscription, because it makes they charging first of all on two sides, right? They can maybe monetize. Even in Europe, there's some discussion here. They can monetize commissions, what they kind of do, right, of service fees on both sides. But I'll be surprised if they goes, okay, you're taking a membership, and in this case, you don't pay the guest fee. You pay a subscription, and that's, I think, the best way, and that's what we do to make sure you have recurring bookers, recurring people to your platform.
Yeah, shameless plug here, but the last piece that is missing here is the security that Airbnb particularly provides short-term rentals when guests travel. So if they book through Airbnb, they have a host guarantee that some damages can be replaced. Otherwise, you have to make sure you have your own insurances in place to cover yourself. And that's, where we feel Noiseware fits in quite nicely, is protecting on all your bookings, whether on an OTA or not, making sure that the traveler is acting the way they should while they're in your rental. And without any assurances or safeguards, booking direct is flat out riskier. Like, there's no doubt about it.
For sure. Well, I think we've covered a lot. Hopefully, Phil, we answered your question, and we should probably get you on the show here sometime soon. That'd be awesome. But yeah, anything coming up for you guys? I know we usually end on a kind of like what's up next, but I just know next week we're going to have another great podcast, another great stream. So that's all I got on my end. And Clubhouse, lots of clubhousing.
I just recommend follow Will, because if I go to Clubhouse, 9 of 10 times I see Will somewhere. So yeah, are you active, Michael, on Clubhouse already?
I've done one or two, but I'm not. I spend all my day on calls anyway. Like, the last thing I really want to do is jump on more calls when I'm having family time or whatever. So I've struggled with that platform, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely it's been wild. It's been that's all I'll say. It's just it's very time consuming, but awesome. Well, thank you guys for hopping on the show again this week, and then for everyone who's tuned in, participated, watched, and is listening, thank you for tuning in to Good Morning Hospitality, and we'll see you again next Monday.